to us.
Alan Scott, Earth's first Green Lantern, presided over the tense meeting taking place in the JSA's Manhattan headquarters. His teammates, Flash, Wildcat, Hourman, Stargirl, Mr. Terrific, and Power Girl, were gathered around the Marvel Roundtable in their conference room. They looked worried, but ready to go. As soon as the UN gave them the go-ahead.
We're told that the Security Council will have a further decision within the hour. Black Adam's status as a foreign leader, not to mention his freedom of power treaties with various hostile nations, makes this whole situation politically dicey. No one wants to start World War III. But Adam might not give us a choice.
That wasn't good enough for Power Girl. She paced restlessly on the other side of the table, too worked up to sit still.
There won't be a Bialia in an hour.
Believe me, Karen, we know that better than anyone.
Emerald flames flashed within his power ring. Bialia. An airport smoldered in the distance. Toppled skyscrapers jutted at odd angles, like gigantic works of modern art. A crashed 747 had been ripped asunder, spilling its human cargo out onto the rubble. Still bodies littered the streets. Broken glass glinted amidst the shattered steel and concrete. Garbage rotted along with the corpses. Countless fires ate away at the foundations of the ruined buildings. Screams and gunfire no longer echoed in the night. Bialia had become a ghost nation, inhabited by only a single restless spirit. Black Adam wandered through the wasteland in a daze. The bodies of his victims were strewn in every direction. Scarlet rivers flowed into the sewers beneath whatever city this was. His knuckles were caked with blood.
Where are you?
His eyes searched fruitlessly for his prey. He had been fighting and killing for what felt like an eternity now, and yet the last of the horsemen continued to elude him.
Where are you?
In frustration, he rocketed to an empty high-rise. The remains of the skyscraper crashed to earth, raising a huge cloud of pulverized concrete. Black Adam hovered hundreds of feet above the wreckage. His shoulders sagged, and he cradled his face in his bloody hands. He could not rest until he had slain his wife's killer. But how much longer must he search?
I should have never let Azrael escape conduct in the first place. I should have made certain he was dead before.
Surprised by the sound, he lifted his gaze and beheld scores of vultures and crows circling in the air above him. As he watched in morbid fascination, they descended and began feeding on the corpses populating the streets below. He rose higher and saw that yet more scavengers were coming to join in the feast. Indeed, it seemed as though the eaters of carrion were circling above the entire nation. All of Bialia had become a meal for them. And flapping amongst the vultures, his great black wings spread out behind him, Azrael presided over the banquet. His lethal scythe sliced through the smoke rising up from the ruins as the fourth and final horseman spoke at last.
With every murder, with the death of every man, woman, and child, I have grown stronger.
He swooped down out of the sky, tackling Adam in midair, and sending them both crashing to the earth. The force of their landing dug a deep trench across what, ironically enough, appeared to be an abandoned cemetery. They slammed into a string of granite headstones, smashing the weathered markers into dust. Rotting coffins and skeletons were uprooted and tossed about. The pungent reek of death filled Black Adam's nostrils. Azrael rose from the freshly furrowed trench and swung his scythe at Black Adam. The edge of the blade slashed across Adam's chest, drawing blood.
I knew you would bring your unreasoning rage here. You were certain to give in to it without that female meat at your side, whispering her sentimental platitudes into your ear. I knew you would feed me with spilled blood and stopped hearts.
He raised the scythe high, preparing to separate Adam's head from his shoulders.
Now I hunger for your death, mortal.
Black Adam caught the blade with his bare hands. The razor-sharp edge sliced through his skin, making his hand slip with blood, but he did not let go.
You make false claims. You are not dead.
Adam swung the blade down and around, straight into Azraeus' gut and out through his back.
I am.
Letting go of the blade, Adam grabbed onto the horseman and pulled him close.
Shazam!
The lightning bolt transformed Black Adam back into his mortal guise and electrocuted the horseman. Flesh fried upon his bones. Smoke rose from his feathered wings. Teth Adam, clad in an ancient Egyptian loincloth and headdress, savored his enemy's torment.
Shazam!
Azraeus' bronze armor melted, fusing to his carbonized flesh. Still impaled upon his own side, which had acted as a lightning rod, attracting the mystical energy, he crashed to the ground. Viscous green tears leaked from the sockets of Azraeus' skull. Teth Adam had become Black Adam once more. He wrested a massive jagged stone from the ground.
Now, monster, you are going to answer every question I ask.
Azraeus attempted to crawl away, dragging himself through the damp graveyard dirt. The feathers had been burned away from his wings, leaving only the bare pinions behind. The blade of the scythe jutted up through his shoulder blades.
You are going to tell me where I can find your masters!
Black Adam drove the pointed tip of the headstone into the horseman's back, breaking his spine. Azraeus' charred tail twitched once, then fell limp. Black Adam placed his hand against the back of the horseman's head.
And then, almighty death.
And drove his bony face into the mud. His fingers poked through the monster's skull. Embalming fluid flowed from the wounds.
I am going to spend the rest of the night slowly ending your life.
Week 46, Oolong Island. Inside the main laboratory, panicked scientists dashed to their battle stations as the island's sensors picked up a humanoid figure zooming toward the tropical atoll at close to the speed of sound. A holographic wall monitor identified the figure.
He sterilized Realia. 1 million men, women, and children in less than 24 hours.
The puny scientist Rigoro Mortis seemed to shrink a few inches more.
Just think what he'll do to us.
All the color drained from Veronica Cale's exquisite features. Only Dr. Savannah appeared untroubled by Black Adam's approach.
So I've been waiting for this for a long, long time. The Black Marvel himself at my birthday. Bring it on!
The other scientists gazed nervously at the oversized monitor. On the screen, Black Adam flew straight into a deluge of scalding chemicals. His silk uniform bubbled and sizzled, but he kept on flying, leaving a trail of steam behind him. His clenched fists tore through the corrosive clouds. Dr. Death lowered his gas mask, revealing pointed ears, bushy eyebrows, and a satanic goatee.
He survived my acid rainstorm.
He grabbed onto a fuming vial of poison, like a child clutching his security blanket.
But the perimeter force shield is designed to withstand a direct asteroid strike of the sort which brought about the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Baron Bug's words did little to reassure Dr. Time, who paced back and forth across the laboratory.
How can you be so calm, Savannah? The most dangerous living being on the planet is mere miles away from our soft, vulnerable guts. And I still haven't found my lost 52 seconds.
500 miles away. 300. 100.
We're all going to die. We deserve to die. The perimeter force shield is shattered! Black Adam is here! Just give me a moment.
Rigoro Mortis' hairless dome was slick with perspiration. His hands trembled as he clumsily attempted to screw together a handheld control console that looked like a cross between a PlayStation joystick and an old-fashioned TV antenna.
Canny, it's brilliant. Sweating, Mortis? Now you know what it's like having the marbles on your shield. He has the power of 7 gods. Think about that.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm an atheist, and I have the powers of ultra science at my disposal in the form of the Super Hood Mark II, the greatest killer android the world has ever seen.
He finally succeeded in fitting the control device together.
Y'all want to hear the rest?
He stared up at the screen.
Get your own.